In part 2 of this one-part series, looking at Dennis Prager's essay, Who's More Irrational, the Religious or the Irreligious, we learned an astonishing fact that 18 to 22-year-olds are more susceptible to indoctrination than 6-year-olds. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the description below, or maybe a card up here somewhere above my head. I don't know, here, there, wherever. But now, we're going to get into the specifics, the irrational beliefs irreligious people like me cling to. I assume we cling to these beliefs with the same fervor the religious cling to the Exodus, or God sending a she-bear to kill kids who've mocked the prophet, because the Bible is inerrant, or only very slightly errant at worst. One could provide examples in every area of life. Here are but a few. Only secular people believe men give birth. Only secular people believe that males, providing of course that they say they are females, should be allowed to compete in women's sports. Only secular people believe that a young girl who says she is a boy, or a young boy who says she is a girl, should be given puberty-blocking hormones. Only secular people believe that girls who say they are boys should have their healthy breasts surgically cut off. Only secular people believe it is good to have men in drag dance, often provocatively, in front of 5-year-olds. Only secular people agree with Disney dropping the use of the words boys and girls at Disneyland and Disney World. This first batch of beliefs are about a topic we're all just coming to understand and grapple with as a society. And why is that? Because for millennia, the power religion held here and abroad marginalized LGBTQ plus people so profoundly that they couldn't even come out of the closet, let alone get the attention, care, and understanding they deserve. Prager would very much like to see that continue based on his Holy Book of Wisdom, what it teaches him. But rest assured that the irreligious, those committed to truth and the well-being of sentient creatures, rather than some ancient sacred text, will, as the data comes in and clarity crystallizes in terms of how to best approach these topics, they will follow that data wherever it leads, because they can, not having pledged their lives to a book of fairy tales written by Bronze and Roman Age ignoramuses, which cannot be challenged, not without risking one's eternal salvation. Only secular people believe that to be colorblind is to be racist. That is what is taught at nearly all secular and religious in name only colleges in America. Citation needed. I suspect there are quite a few religious people of color who would agree with the underlying sentiments and rationalizations of this idea, that perhaps colorblindness could be used as another way to ignore systemic racism. If you don't think that's possible, then you don't understand humanity's ability to take an otherwise good idea and turn it on its head. It's certainly a topic about which rational people can discuss, argue over, and agree to disagree without malice or one party being irrational. Only secular people believe fewer police, fewer prosecutors, and lower prison sentences, or no prison time at all, lead to less crime. Again, I'd love to see the citation for this. There are definitely people who believe in police and criminal justice reform, where we don't treat every issue, most especially drug addiction, drug use, mental illness, driving while black, etc., as a problem for the police and the prison system. But again, I suspect quite a few religious people of color would be on that team. Dennis gives more examples which can be countered. I'll link to his essay in the description. Meanwhile, let's get to his final thoughts. But 2 points need to be made in this regard. One is that the religious beliefs that most people call irrational are not irrational. They are unprovable. For example, the beliefs that there is a transcendent creator and that this creator is the source of our rights are not irrational. They are unprovable. Atheism, the belief that everything came from nothing, is considerably more irrational than theism. Sorry, Den, but it's not merely unprovable that God wants to take a perfectly formed newborn baby boy and on the 8th day mutilate his genitalia. It's not merely unprovable that your all-knowing, all-powerful, all-loving God ordered his people to commit genocide, including the murder of babies and animals. It's as abhorrent as can be. Nor is it merely unprovable that the Christian God is such an undying fan of violence that he will continue using the most vicious tortures imaginable on sentient creatures, Dennis and his fellow Jews included, for all time and all eternity, simply because they didn't believe the exact right thing about a story with more holes in it than a Trump brain scan. These beliefs are not merely irrational or unprovable. They are grotesque. The other point is that human beings are programmed to believe in the non-rational. Love is often non-rational. Love of our children, romantic love, love of music and art, love of a pet. Our willingness to engage in self-sacrifice for another is often non-rational. From the sacrifices children make for parents and parents for children to the sacrifices made by non-Jewish rescuers of Jews during the Holocaust. Yes, Dennis, those are all beautiful, irrational things. Non-believers don't argue against them, though they will try to understand them rationally as part of our evolutionary story. Perhaps they're not as non-rational as you think. What good religion does is provide its adherents with a moral, emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually deep way to express the non-rational. Therefore, they can remain rational everywhere outside of religion. The secular, having no religion within which to innocuously express the non-rational, often end up doing so elsewhere in life. Is that why the Christianity of the Middle Ages was so peaceful, especially to people like you, Den? Should we go back to blaming witches and Jews for natural disasters and crop failures? Religious people expressed the non-rational so well before the Enlightenment, didn't they? We had it all, people, and we just threw it away with our secularism. If only we could get the LGBTQ plus communities back in their closets, get black people to shut up about systemic racism and throw more people in jail. Hashtag conservative wet dream. Once again, for PragerFU, I'm me. Thanks for watching. Oh, and go Devils!